Well, that's what it looks like with the box on there. We're going to go ahead and weld our mounting tabs to the rails. When I was pulling this box on last night, I almost thought that the damn cab shield was going to hit the cab. I never did measure from the frame up, but most cabs are about the same height off the frame, and then we build them cab shields as low as we can get them, so as to utilize as much space above the cab, being that we're running a 7-foot tall side. So what we've got is we're going to use a 1-inch flat bar, 1x4. That's going to be our tab material. And then the rails are 3/8 of an inch thick, so I need to put a scab of 3/8 material on top of the 1-inch. So I got a 3/8 by 4 laying there as well. I've got 3 tabs on here. I've got one in the back, one right by the hoist, and then there's one up front. All right, so what we're using to drill these holes is these Milwaukee steel hogs. Now this mag drill I have has got 4 different style bits that I can use in it. It's got the regular tapered chuck here, and then I could pound this, this is a sleeve here, and then this tapered chuck has a Morse taper drive to it. It's a metal tab. You can just barely see it on the top. You can pound that out, and I can run the Morse taper 3 bits in it. I've got a bunch of these tang drive bits which just go up into this unit here, and then these just spin up into just go up into the drill head itself. And then this steel hog here, they go on kind of like a hole saw does, and then you just run this in tapered chuck. The reason why I don't use these steel hog bits as much is you can't drill as deep with them. The larger holes, I will use them on the larger holes, but most generally you can only go about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches top. So we're going to get our metal laid out here, and we're going to start laying things out so we can get these tabs welded on. And we'll have to slide the box off, pull the rails off, clean everything up, cover everything up, and we'll paint it. So we better get after it here. We're kind of blessed with the weather that we've got. It's raining, so it'll give us a chance to get this job here finished up. All right, we have the rear tab assembly all welded into place, working on the center one. Jason just backed this, well, we call it our John Deere truck because we painted it John Deere green. He just backed this in, and we're going to replace the lower hoist mounts. This broke down back, we were halfway through planting corn, and we're just getting around to fixing it now. What we're going to do is we're going to unbolt the angle irons off the truck frame. Actually, we got to raise the hoist. We're going to come underneath it with a gantry to hold the hoist up into place. Then we'll jack the hoist up a little bit, unbolt the angle iron plates, which is these here, from the truck frame, put a floor jack underneath the hoist, pull the lower hoist mounts out, and then we're going to replace the hoist mounts on both sides, which are those pieces there on the floor. We actually took them off of the new 110 hoist that I've got. It's basically a simple job here. It's probably an hour. He'll have more time into fixing the airlines that I burned through than doing the actual job itself. All right, they make a nice, perfect hole. Little cleaner hole than what a twist drill does. I don't only use these on new steel. I don't like using them on truck frames. You get into the rust, you screw them up. Then you end up with a nice bushing when you're left over, when you're done. You have to drill a hole, more or less a pilot hole when you start, just so that, well, you might not have to, but I like to drill one so that that bit is centered. The idea of the spring-loaded piece in here is actually to push out the plug after you have drilled it. It's not really, well, it's designed to use that both ways. I like to drill a pilot hole just so that thing's not jerking all over the place. Then you lose your line and everything else. So this piece here has the cutout in it because of the hydraulic line that comes up into the hoist. So when I set these truck bodies up years ago, we just welded the tabs on the first chassis that worked best for that chassis, and all of our boxes are all tabbed in the same spot, all of the tanks, so we have to have all the trucks set up that way too. And once in a while we run into a situation where the tabs aren't really working in the best spot. For example, this one has the bolt tab right on top of the tail hinge. I had to do some fancy work to get the tail hinge to work in conjunction with the tab. I might mount one back farther too, just so that if this is ever on another box, it'll work, but the actual box that we leave on this truck maybe doesn't need to be bolted where that tail hinge is. The only thing is we change our bolt pattern on the next box we build, then it's not going to work on the other trucks. So we're going to get this tab, this bar in there, and weld it into place, and then we'll have to get the tabs on the front. I can't run a bar all the way across in the front because of where the hoist is. I'm just going to have to weld the tab on each side. So it's all downhill from here. Well, I'm just working on the last couple of tabs up on the front here. I've got this one tacked on there, and I've got the one on the right hand side tacked on as well. And then we've got the middle one on there, and then we'll have to do a little bit more welding to them once we get the box off. Jay's getting this hoist fixed up here. New angle iron mounts and new lower mounts for the hoist. The one on the left side broke, but we decided to replace them both just because of the amount of stress that would have been on the one that's on the right hand side there when this side broke. So he's just getting the angle iron bolted on that other side, and then he'll have to position that hoist and weld the lower mount to this angle iron here. And then maybe we could get somebody to wash this truck. I don't know if it could hold any more dirt than what it's currently holding here, but the weather is nice outside. It's misting right now. Some areas here got 2.5 inches of rain. So just a little bit more work on this one, and then we'll pull the box off, do some work to that angle iron frame, and then we can start pulling it apart and getting it ready for paint here. Well, we ended up sliding the box off of this, and now what I'm doing is I have to put the top piece on these tabs here. It's just a 3/8 by 4 flat bar that we're gonna set on there, drill a hole in it, and it'll bring it up to the bottom of this angle iron piece here. So I've got one done in the back, I've got to do 3 on that side and 2 on this side here. And then this bar, when we went all the way across, we had to make a cutout for the hydraulic hose coming up into the hoist. I ended up putting a 90-degree long on here. If I had a 90-degree short, it probably would have worked. But we got that cut apart, and I'm just going to put a gusset on there, and that will work fine. So I ended up getting this back tab on there, and that's what that there looks like. Jason's got this truck done. Had to put a set of batteries in it. He's got the lower hoist mounts. He ended up replacing them on both sides here, the right hand side and on the left. And this is just getting ready to roll out the door here. Batteries are all installed, huh? This guy could run a pressure washer around it. Yeah, get her race ready. So, well, they just pulled that other truck out of here, and Garrett's washing it. Thought we'd show you this one. The other day we took the flatbed off of it, and Jason's getting this toolbox off in there. This truck here didn't have a toolbox on it. However, this one does. The box is kind of shot, but this is where we want to put the hydraulic tank. So he's taking this off of here, and Tim ended up going out to get a PTO for this, so we'll start working on this here in a little while, getting the turbo, or the the PTO on it. And it's a little different with the exhaust coming up the side here. Just taking a peek in there. Everything kind of looks like it's in the same general spot. So we're gonna start working on this one a little bit here and there as the weather permits us. We've got to cut the frame off a little bit here yet. Got to get these brackets off of here, the hooks. Yeah. Well, we had everything all put together, and then we took everything all back apart again just so that we could paint it without getting overspray all over the truck. So that's what Jay's doing here now, is getting things painted up. Got all of our tabs done. Alright, the rail system is all painted. We just got to let that dry. And now what we're working on is getting some paint. We're going to get some paint on these parts that are new that we have put onto this here. Garrett has went through and he has washed the truck frame, all the grease and the grime off the truck frame. And then what Jay's got to do is he's got to spray on some metal prep, or some degreaser rather. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put POR 15, which is paint over rust. We're going to use that as a base coat, and then we're going to just spray black on. That's the same stuff that we used. Yeah, all right, you can go ahead. It's the same stuff that we used on the rail system. We've got to paint this bracket here that the hoist is welded to, and we also have to paint this valve body. It would be nice to leave all these hose ends silver because they kind of look nice like that. However, they're just going to rust in due time. And then same with this valve body. It does not have any paint on it. So we're going to get after that and get everything painted here just so that it's kind of protected. Yeah, you got to get, there must have been a little oil in that hose off the start.
What that is?
Yeah, that's oil. Just, yeah. We use this gun here for oil and chains, and there was some oil in that hose when he started that. So, yeah, go over that whole thing again, Jay. So we're trying to degrease here, and we greased it when we started. That was cleaner when you started, Jay.
I know, right?
That kind of thing happens, but this frame cleaned up real nice. Looks like brand new. There's a lot of grease and grime in here from the drive shaft. It's all cleaned up good. And then the top of the frame, there was a lot of rust scale on the top of the frame from just the flatbed. Again, all we're going to paint is the new parts that we have welded on. I put a rod down the length of the, across the cross members just to hold the hoses up in the air. So we're going to paint that, the bumper, bracket holding the hoses up for the hoist. And we'll let this sit overnight, and then we can put the rails on and pull the body on, and then that'll be it for this one. All right, Jay's got the rails all done here. Now we've got the truck all prepped for POR, and it is starting to rain again. The boys are tedding, and I thought maybe they would have been able to get through the tedding without the raining, but we went through the procedure to put the POR 15 on, and what that is a degreaser. You spray that on, you let that sit for a while, rinse that off, and then you put a metal prep on there, which is some kind of an acid. You let that sit for a while, then you rinse that off, and you can see how that's got that cleaned right up there. So we've got the stuff covered that we want covered, and all we're going to do is we're going to paint this valve body here. We're going to paint that bracket that comes down to hold them hoses. He's going to splash some stuff on this rod that is holding these hoses into place, and then he's going to paint the tail hinge on the back. So just some basic stuff here. So it'll be on there in no time. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. Everything's painted on the rail system, and we've got the paint touched up on the chassis, the truck chassis itself. Oh, the parts that we added on the back end here had to be painted, and we ended up running a fast coat of paint down the frame rails as well. We had a couple of spots that had little speckles on them where they needed some paint, so we ended up just running a coat of paint down through there. But that is going to do it for this video, folks. I want to thank you for watching, and we will catch you at the next video.